Hi, I'm Brad Porter. I'm the owner and operator of Ultimate Hoofcare. We're based in Metropolitan Sydney, New South Wales. We have staff of 7 people. Apprentices range from 4th year through to 1st year, and also a contracted farrier as well. Type of clients, we're purely 100% thoroughbred is our clientele. Previously I had mixed practice, as in performance horses and also thoroughbreds, racing horses, but now we're 100% racing industry in Metropolitan Sydney. I've been a farrier for 23 years, around about that. In the year 2000 I started. I started my apprenticeship because I wasn't the biggest fan of school. I wanted to do a trade, wanted to use my hands, and obviously I loved horses, so it was pretty much a no-brainer for me. I was one of the lucky ones. I was age of 14, I was already doing work experience with our local farrier. That sort of ties in with the biggest influence of my career being my mum. I was a young guy and I just wanted to work for the local farriers around my area at the time, and mum really pushed me to go into Melbourne, and she found the best possible farrier who would take me on, a guy called Vaughan Ellis. And Vaughan's very well known within the industry, and he's very skilled. He's the exceptional tradesman. So if it wasn't for mum pushing me very hard down that path to work with Vaughan, I obviously probably would have been skilled, but it was a really, really good start to my career as a farrier to spend four years as an apprentice, and then I stayed on for a short while after. But yeah, the skill sets what Vaughan taught me back then as a young person, that they're invaluable. So from my apprenticeship with Vaughan at Caulfield, I was lucky enough to win Apprentice of the Year. That was back in the Australian Nails day, and they sponsored the Tom McGrath Apprentice of the Year award. So that went to a trip to Canada, and I spent a year in Canada shoeing all show jumpers and performance horses over there. Worked with a lot of great Canadian farriers throughout that year and competed in shoeing classes as well. So I was there for about a year and then returned back to Melbourne from there. So I arrived back in Melbourne and started from scratch. I think in those days I called it BJ Porter Master Farriers. I ran that in Melbourne around about, I'd say, 5 to 7 years. I was there. I was mixed practice, as in performance horses and thoroughbreds. Travelled into Flemington and did a lot of horses around my local area through the Yarra Valley, all performance horses. And then I got an opportunity back then to move to Sydney, and I was in Sydney for about 6 months prior to getting a job opportunity over at Hong Kong for the Hong Kong Jockey Club. So obviously I was very fortunate to get, first of all, the Master Farriers position for the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Very much so because of how young I was. I was only 27. And to get an opportunity like that to go and work for a big corporate organisation like the Hong Kong Jockey Club, it was a fantastic opportunity, sort of in the first half of my career, I guess you'd say, to get over there and to be working under a very good tradesman of Paul Cummings. So I spent about a year to 18 months underneath Paul, and then Paul moved back to Australia, and then I was lucky enough to get the head farrier's position after Paul left. So for the total time I was there about 6-7 years, and it was a fantastic experience. Obviously got to travel a lot. When horses were competing all over the world, I was very, very, very lucky and fortunate to be able to travel with them and look after their hoof care when I did travel. So to work in countries like Dubai, Singapore, went to Japan a lot. Yeah, those life experiences I could never really repay back. It was exceptional. And then after my time in Hong Kong, I moved back to Sydney, Australia, and that's where I started up Ultimate Hoofcare. We're a Metropolitan-based company here servicing all the racehorses. Very lucky. We've got 4 to 5 clients, main clients. We service them. Just very, very fortunate for the people what we're working for. A lot of the clients we're working for, we've been with them from the start, as in I worked for Kieran Ma, but I was here from the start of his operation in Sydney. Same with Annabelle Neesham. She was a start-up. So I've been with Annabelle since the start. So we're very, very lucky with the clients we've got. They're fantastic horse people, and yeah, they're great clients as well. My biggest influences within my career, it's probably pretty vast. I mentioned my mum with the direction she put me in, and then Vaughan, and also just spending that year with Paul overseas, Paul Cummings in Hong Kong. That was invaluable. Fantastic tradesman, and I honestly couldn't have done the head farrier role without spending a year to 18 months stepping stone into it underneath Paul's tutorage. Then from there, the trainers over there, John Size, from a non-tradesman aspect of my career, he's probably been the biggest influence. Just the way he used to challenge us on the way we thought. Think from more of a horseman attitude rather than a tradesman. The thing with John was how he just taught me to shoot the athlete and to shoot the horse, the animal in front of you, and also to, every horse was different, every athlete was different, and to just open up your mindset of, it's not just you've got a certain problem, you fix it that way. Treat each animal and each athlete on their own merits, and it was massive in my skill set and moving forward to deal with lamenesses and whatnot. Yeah, it improved me out of sight. So John Size for sure. Spare time, I'm either chasing my two kids around, Pippa or James, and a lot of times we'll be riding horses together, which is more recent. Recently, they've got into their horses pretty full on, which is cool. So I get home at night and we'll go for a ride with them. Also, any sports they have on, and I really like playing the sport polocrosse. So if don't have an apron on, I'm probably on top of a horse with a polocrosse racket. So the most rewarding part of what I do, I would say working with clients to achieve their goals, whether it's a lame horse or a horse with difficult feet, aiming at big races. The most enjoyment is playing your role within the team aspect of whatever stable you're in. So that, and you work common goal, whether it's a lame horse or a horse with difficult feet, getting them to their race, them performing, and if we're lucky enough for them to win that race, to see the joy on the client, the strapper, everyone involved, it's sort of the enjoyment, and I guess you look at everyone too, it's the relief that everyone's put in that effort and to get the result. And a lot of times it means a fair bit of money to people too. So yeah, it's definitely helping our clients achieve their goals. My favourite horses, in Hong Kong, there was a little sprinter called Lucky Nine. His owner, Dr. Chan, was a lovely man too. So it was the experience of what Lucky Nine gave us through, he was a little champion, he had a heart of a warrior, but also the aspect of his owner, Dr. Chan, of how generous he was. I got to travel around the world with this little gelding who, he was only yay high, but he had a massive engine and an even bigger heart. He was definitely one of my favourite horses in Hong Kong, if not. Another horse called Sacred Kingdom. Paul did a lot of work on Sacred Kingdom. I helped him later on in Sacred's career, but just the way he used to strut around Sha Tin, he was a gelding, but he had an aura and a presence about him. He was a real cool dude. And then back in Australia, since I've been back, there's been a few, but probably Zaki. He's our favourite for sure. He's an old grumpy boy, but once again, a little bit like Lucky Nine. He just got a big heart and a big motor, and he puts everything into it. So to be attached to horses like that, play our little role. That's all we're doing, is just playing our little role. But it's pretty enjoyable when they salute and pass the line first.